After you watch the video talking about relative clauses, it is the time to check out if you really understood all the things that I told you. And we're going to start with a very simple one. Okay, you've got 10 sentences and this is what you have to do. I'm going to do first one as an example. Now, I didn't enjoy the film which you saw yesterday or last night. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to underline the relative clause, then you have to circle the pronoun. The last thing you have to do is you have to identify the word related to the pronoun. Okay, so pause the video, do the exercise, and let's check it out. Here we go. The city where I live in is very modern. Okay, this is the relative clause. This is where the pronoun, and this is the word, the city that is related to the relative clause and of course the pronoun. Number 3. Is this the shirt which was missing from your suitcase? Okay, so which was missing from the suitcase? It is the relative clause. Then which is the pronoun, and the shirt, it is related to which. Okay. Number 4. The man who lives next door is 100 years old. This is the relative clause. This is the pronoun who, and this is the word, the subject related to the pronoun. Number 5. Where is the magazine which Jim bought yesterday? Which Jim bought yesterday is the relative clause. This is the pronoun. And the magazine is the word related to which. Number 6. The old woman who lives below us has won a lottery ticket. Who lives below us is the relative clause, who the pronoun, and the old woman, it is the subject related to who. Number 7. This is the woman who wants to buy our car. Who wants to buy a car, relative clause. Then you've got who and the woman. Okay. Number 8. The policeman who helped me was very nice. Okie dokie, so we've got who helped me, then who, which is the pronoun, and the policeman. Yep, here we go. It is the subject. Number 9. We haven't thanked the girl who found our cat. Okay, so who found our cat? It is the relative clause, then who, and the girl, it is the word related to who. And number 10. This is the restaurant which Pedro recommended to me. Okay, so here we go. Which Pedro recommended to me. Then we've got which, and then the restaurant. Okay. Now we're going to do this exercise. Complete the sentences and choose from the box and make a relative clause. Now we have here the first part of a sentence, and here you have the second part of it. You have to put them together using these two relative pronouns, who for people and which for things, objects, animals. Okay? Right. So here we go. Oops, sorry, I have to delete every single thing here, removing it. Here we go. Alright, Helen works for a company that makes furniture. Now, remember, you can use that instead of who or instead of which. But in this case, forget about that. I want you to use who for people and which for something. Objects, animals. Okay? Here we go then. Helen works for a company that makes furniture. Number 2. The book is about a girl who, or you can say that too, runs away from home. Number 3. What happened to the pictures? Just because of the pictures, I'm going to say which. Which or that were hanging on the wall. A mystery is something which that cannot be explained. Number 5. The police have arrested the man who stole my wallet. Me robó la cartera. Number 6. A dictionary is a book which gives you the meaning of words. Number 7. Alexander Bell was the man who invented the telephone. And the last one, number 8. It seems that Earth is the only planet which can support life. Make one sentence from 2. You have to use who, that, or which. But in this case, I want you to use who for people and which for things and animals, okay? Alright, so let's start then. Let's see the example. Number 1. A girl was injured in the accident. She's now in hospital. So here you have 2 sentences, one and the second here. You have to put them together with a relative clause. In this case, take a look. A girl was injured in the accident. Now we're going to start with the girl. The girl, what girl are you talking about? I'm talking about the girl who was injured in the accident is now in hospital. Okay? Now, we're going to do the next ones. Here we go. The waitress served us. She was impolite and impatient. The waitress. What waitress are you talking about? The waitress who served us. What happened, was impolite and impatient. And altogether, it is the waitress who served us was impolite and impatient. Number 3. A building was destroyed in the fire. It has now been rebuilt. The building. What building are you talking about? The one which was destroyed in the fire. So the building which was destroyed by the fire, or in the fire, has now been rebuilt. Okay. Number 4. Some people were arrested. They have now been released. The people. What people are you talking about? The people who were arrested have now been released. And number 5. A bus goes to the airport. It runs every half hour. The bus. What bus are you talking about? I'm talking about the bus which goes to the airport. And what happens then? Okay, runs every half hour. Now, this exercise is quite similar to the previous one that you've done before. In this case, you've got two sentences here, and you have to put them together using a relative clause. All right, so here we go. The book, what book are you talking about? The book that I gave you had many pictures. Okay, so you can use one of these two, which or that. Which for things, and that, it doesn't matter if it's a person or a thing. Number two, I'm reading a book at the moment. It is very exciting. So the book that I'm reading at the moment is very interesting. Number three, you live in a town, and this town is very old. So the town, which is a place, okay, the town where I live is very old. Number four, the sweets are delicious. I bought them yesterday. So the sweets, what sweets? The sweets that I bought yesterday are delicious. Number five, the football match was very exciting. My friend played in it. So the football match that my friend played in was very exciting. Number six, the letter hasn't arrived yet. I posted it 3 days ago. You know what? The letter? What letter? Now, the letter that I posted 3 days ago hasn't arrived yet. He lives in a house. The house is not very big. So the house is that a place? Yes, it is. The house where he lives is not very big. Number eight, you're playing a song on the radio. Do you like it? Do you like, what do you like? Do you like the song that we're playing on the radio? Number nine, Jane wore a beautiful shirt yesterday. Did you see it? Did you see what? Did you see the shirt that Jane wore yesterday? Number 10, a doctor was sick. Now I wanted to see the doctor. So the doctor, what doctor? The doctor that I wanted to see was sick. Number 11, an accountant was arrested. The accountant works for my father's company. So the accountant who that works. What's wrong here? Works. The accountant who works for my father's company was arrested. Number 12, John made a copy of the photo. I took the photo. So John made a copy of the photo. What photo? We're talking about, the photo that I took. Okay. Number 13, I met a girl and the girl was a doctor. Wow, I met a girl. What girl? I met a girl who was a doctor that was a doctor. Number 14, we called a doctor and the doctor works at a hospital in London. So we called a doctor who works at a hospital in London. Hey, we haven't got enough room for number 15. Okay, so we'll remove it. Number 16. This is the hospital. My mother works here. So this is the hospital. What hospital? The hospital where my mother works. Number 17. He knows a woman and she is very famous. So he knows a woman who is very famous. Number 18, that's an exercise. Everyone can do it. So that's an exercise which or that everyone can do it. Number 19. The man has left, and he had a red coat. So, the man. What man? The man who had a red coat has left. Number 20. Maradona has died in 2020. He was from Argentina, as everybody knows. So, Maradona, who was from Argentina, from Argentina, has died in 2020. Number 21. A whale is a mammal. It lives in the sea. So, a whale is a mammal which lives in the sea. 22. I have a friend and his name is Alexander. So, I have a friend whose name is Alexander. And the last one, number 23, Carrefour is the shop I always buy there. So, Carrefour is the shop where I always buy. Now, let's go to student's book, page 60, exercise number 1. Choose the correct relative clause. Alright, now remember, defining clauses, they are very important for the meaning of the whole sentence. Non-defining, it is an extra information that we don't really need. Okay, so take a look at these two sentences and tell me which one is correct, okay? My dad, who does most of the cooking, makes great curries. My dad, comma, who does most of the cooking, comma, makes great curries. Okay, which one do you think is the correct one? Defining or non-defining? That's it, non-defining. I suppose you've only got one dad, okay? So you don't have to identify your dad, do you? Okay, number 2. The French dish that I absolutely love is crème brûlée. I don't know if you say that in French, okay? B. The French dish, comma, that I absolutely love, comma, is crème brûlée. So which one do you think is the correct one? Defining or non-defining? Yes, defining. You don't know the French dish that I'm going to talk about, okay? So that's defining. This relative clause, what I absolutely love, you know, it is so important that otherwise, it has no meaning, right? Number 3. I've been finding out about Remy Smith, comma, who is a young Chinese American chef. B. I've been finding out about Remy Smith, who is a young Chinese American chef. Okay, so which one is the correct one? That's it. This is non-defining, okay? I already told you about Remy Smith, okay? So that's an extra information, who is a young Chinese American chef. You don't have to identify him because I have already told you the name, which is Remy Smith. Number 4. This is the restaurant where we ate last week. B. This is the restaurant, comma, non-defining, where we ate last week. Yeah, so the correct one is A. Of course, it is a defining clause. Why? Because if I don't continue speaking, I just stop there. This is the restaurant. You don't know what restaurant I'm talking about, so I have to say the relative clause here, right? Page 60, exercise number 2. Write a word from the box in each gap to complete the sentences. There may be more than one correct answer. So here we go. We can use that. Instead of which or who, we can use when, where, or whose. Alright, here we go. A meal which you made for us last night was delicious. Instead of which, you can say that too. Alright, good. Do you remember the time when you put sugar in the soup instead of salt? Number 3, Remy Smith, whose show is called Cook Time with Remy, loves cooking. Number 4, this is the restaurant where we celebrated my mom's birthday. Number 5, anchovies, which I love, go really well on pizza. And the last one, are there any celebrity chefs who you admire? So let's go for the last one, exercise number 3, page 60. Rewrite the sentences using the information given, and you have to use a relative clause in each sentence. So I have already marked for you the most important words so that, they may help you to write your own relative clauses. Okay? So here we go. Let's go. Jamie Oliver, who, by the way, it is a very famous cook there in England. It is kind of Arguiñano in Spain. Yeah. So, Jamie Oliver was born in Essex, and Essex is a county in England, un condado. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to look for some information about Essex in the second sentence. And here it is. It's a county in England. Alright, so here we go. Jamie Oliver was born in Essex, which is a county in England. Okay, number 2. He first worked in the kitchens of a restaurant. His parents owned a restaurant. So, looking for information in the second part here, talking about the restaurants. Yeah, this is very important. His parents owned the restaurant. So, if I put them all together with a relative clause, this is the way to do it. He first worked in the kitchens of a restaurant that which his parents owned. Next one. His many cookery shows have appeared on TV around the world. They include Jamie's School Dinners and Jamie at Home. Okay, so talking about cookery shows, which ones? These include these two. So, his many cookery shows, which by the way, include Jamie's School Dinners and Jamie at Home, have appeared in TV around the world. Number 4. Jamie's School Dinners try to improve the quality of food. The food is served in schools. Alright, so if I take a look at the second sentence, this is the part that I have to use for my relative clause. Jamie's School Dinners try to improve the quality of food which or that was served in schools. Number 5. It was hard to get pupils to eat well. The pupils didn't like eating vegetables. So, they didn't like eating vegetables. That's important. Talking about the pupils. So, it was hard to get pupils, by the way, who didn't like eating vegetables to eat well. Who? People. In the end, he was successful and the government agreed to spend more on school meals. The government pays for school meals. Alright, what about the government and the food? Okay, so they pay for school meals. In the end, he was successful and the government, which by the way, pays for school meals, agreed to spend more on school meals.